This week I brought in 2 people for questioning.
So what you're saying is you have all these things flying above our heads. They can read the ID chips in our filling, but don't actually do anything.
It's a simple algorithm even you can understand. If you don't find the last of them, he'll find you and kill you.
No. I mean, yes, they work, but it's not that simple. Criminals can find ways around them. Criminals can find ways around them.
Criminals can find ways around them.
If they can find the right people, criminals can get a firewall built around them that prevents our drones from identifying their faces.
This is a world first. Never before has a biomechanical fusion been asked to do so much.
Believe me, I understand your frustration. I do.
It's going to feel strange initially. The neural pathways in your brain trying to have a conversation with a foreign body.
I just killed somebody. What do you think? What do you think I should do?
I would suggest that you rid the house of all your fingerprints.
Trying to learn to pass the baton. The key is to let it grow into itself.
Are you kidding me? I can't remember every single thing that I touched.
I have a record of every single thing you touched. The man who shot your wife, there's no gun in his hand.
She was shot. That means he had a gun.
My God.
She was shot, but not with a gun he was holding in his hand. A gun implanted inside his hand.
Step made you come here.
Someone paid him. You know what this means, Gray.
To kill me. Because I can build another step.
I did pick you. You should be honored. I needed a human body to fully evolve. A rare and pure specimen without computer implants.
So we all knew that transhumanism was coming. We saw it pre-programmed into our subconscious by all these films and movies going back decades. But this newest installment of the transhumanist agenda, called Upgrade, goes a step further. It weaves this story, this poignant story of a man whose wife is killed, and then he becomes a paraplegic. And the only way that he can exact revenge on the people that did this to him is to accept the chip. Accept this chip in the back of his neck that will basically bind the spinal cord together and then integrate him into an operating system, which will then allow him to become better, upgraded, hence the name of the film, right? Now, this concept of the spinal column, I believe, goes far deeper than you could ever imagine. Your spinal column is 33 vertebrae, 33 bones, and I believe it represents our cage, our prison, surrounding the well of life. Why do I call the inside of the spinal column the well of life? Well, because it's bathed in cerebrospinal fluid that is self-replenishing. And I believe that it was designed that way to be an analogy of the spirit of life within each and every one of us. And it's meant to point back to the situation with Christ at the well with the woman. And he's explaining to the woman at the well that if you drink of the waters of heaven, that you will never be thirsty. But there is a cage surrounding that well, and that is our beast bodies. The 12 ribs, the 12 intercranial nerves, which are also bathed in the cerebrospinal fluid as well. Now, this has nothing to do with Kundalini. That is the wrong path to get there. The Kundalini keeps you down in the base. This keeps you on earthly things, trying to find a way to heaven, to ascension through raising yourself and your own body up and denying God and denying Christ. That is the improper way. That is satanic. Christ is at the middle of this, and his knowledge, being the doctor he was, because that's what doctors do, they heal, with the knowledge that he had, that we are just now starting to corroborate with the scriptures and relating that to modern science. There is no way he could have known all this unless he was, in fact, God on earth, master of the universe, most intelligent being, inspiring writers to write all of these things down and living out all of these experiences that then we can connect back to physiology of the body and anatomy that nobody knew at that time. Around the turn of the millennium, nobody knew these things, but Christ and God knew, because he illustrated it through his knowledge of how the body works. Nobody knew what cerebrospinal fluid was. They saw some fluid, they didn't know what it did, they didn't know it self-replenished. But yet here's Christ talking about this well, which looks like a column of vertebrae filled with the well of life, self-replenishing, never go thirsty. You know, Jesus' first miracle when he was 12 years old was to fascinate doctors in a temple. Now, what could he have possibly been saying to these doctors to make them fascinated with his words? I hope you guys take this information to heart and realize who the one and only true Savior is. Take care and be safe.